Hello everyone, back to today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather next week to 10 days for today's second video, which takes us beyond Christmas. So we did 5-day forecast earlier on today. You can find the video to that here on the home page. Just scroll down the page a little bit and it's above the snow desk. There's also the written version. You can get to the buttons, get to that from buttons at the top of the page. Going to be quite a mild and fairly dry pre-Christmas period. Things change over Christmas itself. We finished on Christmas Day when it's turning wet and colder. And we're going to pick up the story beyond Christmas Day for today's second video. We may be seeing some wintry weather returning between Christmas and New Year. We're not talking about going back to big freeze or anything like that, but we may well see colder conditions coming back to some degree between Christmas and New Year, and there might be some wintry potential in there as well. I'll talk you through everything that's going on in a second. And talking of Christmas, just say that tonight we've got the 24th and penultimate Christmas update coming up for you. There'll only be one more Christmas update left to do. That'll be on Friday once tonight's is out of the way. Before I get on with that, though, just say about Christmas shop. So, this final day we're going to plug this, because I think after today you pretty much run out of time unless you pay extra for delivery anyway. So, you've got extra shopping to do at Amazon today. Then click the green button that says Gav's Christmas Shop. It takes you to our Christmas Shop page. Then from there, the key to it all is to go through the Amazon banners, which arrive at Amazon. You do Christmas shopping as normal. Because you've gone from Gav's Office to Amazon, we get a remedy on the things that you are buying. And a big thank you to everybody for doing that again for us this year. It has been a really big success. So thanks to everybody for doing Christmas shopping at Amazon through Gav's Office. And you've still got a few more hours to do it. Right, so let's get on with today's video. I'm going to start off looking at the temperature in the stratosphere over the North Pole at 30 HPA. The grey line here, this is from the JMA website, by the way. The grey line here tells us what the trend is in terms of these temperatures at 30 HPA over the North Pole. The black line shows us where we've been with the temperatures over the North Pole in the stratosphere at 30 HPA since September. So, back in November, we reached our coldest point of the year, which was down here. Had colder than average temperatures in the stratosphere in November at 30 HPA. Through December, we've actually warmed the temperature up quite a bit. So, we are above average in terms of the temperature at 30 HPA in the stratosphere over the North Pole. At the moment, the black line finishing just there shows that we are several degrees above the grey line, so we are warmer than average. This is not a stratospheric warming, though. This is not a sudden stratospheric warming, most definitely. It's just a little bit warmer than average. We're looking to get the black line up there somewhere within 2 or 3 days during the course of this winter. That would be a sudden stratospheric warming. They always look very, very dramatic on these charts when that happens. And if we do that, then 2 or 3 weeks later, you can get an increased chance of northern blocking, which can produce, very often, our coldest spells of the winters that we've had in the past have been preceded by a sudden stratospheric warming. It's amazing how many really cold spells have a sudden stratospheric warming around 2 or 3 weeks before they occur. I think we are expecting a sudden stratospheric warming this winter, because we're in an easterly QBO already, which sort of weakens the zonal westerlies. We had a rapid build-up of snow cover across Siberia and Russia through October. That's another one of the feedbacks that can increase your chance of getting a stratospheric warming through the winter, because very often these warmings begin around Siberia and penetrating to the North Pole. So you get a rapid build-up of snow cover feedbacks in October over Siberia. Feedbacks can start off these warming events over Siberia. And, of course, got very weak solar activity as well. So, putting all these things together, I think we're expecting a sudden stratospheric warming this winter. It's not a guarantee, though, of cold weather, because it just depends where the blocking feature eventually finishes up. So, although many of our coldest spells in the past have been preceded by a sudden stratospheric warming, sometimes we get a stratospheric warming, we don't get any cold weather, because you don't get blocking in the right position to deliver cold weather to us. But and the other thing as well is that if it happens late, if it doesn't happen until sort of mid to late February, for example, then it will actually be more like the spring that it impacts rather than the winter. So the next 4 or 5 weeks are going to be critical, I think, to see whether we do get this expected sudden stratospheric warming this winter. The temperature at 10 HPA, very similar, again a little bit above average, a little bit above the grey line, not by as much as it is at 20 HPA, but again, same idea. We reached the coldest point of the year back in November, and since then have been a little bit milder than average at 10 HPA, which is a bit further up actually compared to 30 HPA. This is how the GFS is forecasting these stratospheric temperatures to progress through to the end of the year and the start of 2018. So we're beginning on the 28th of December. We've got these yellow colours over Siberia. So that's a modest warming that's occurring in the stratosphere at 10 HPA over Siberia on the 28th of December. Let's get to New Year. This takes us to New Year's Day. And we keep those yellow colours there over Siberia, but not infiltrating into the pole. We still have these blue and purple colours sitting over the pole, so that's the cold temperatures. Although it's a little bit milder than average, of course, it is still very cold in terms of the temperature in the stratosphere over the North Pole up to New Year. We go through the first week of January, and we do see a bit of intensification of this warming over Siberia. So it's going more towards the orange colours by the 5th of January. That's a very long way off, of course, and the further out we go, the more unreliable it gets. These stratospheric temperature charts are as unreliable as all the other charts at sort of in the extended range of the GFS model. This is 384 hours away as far as we can go, 5th of January. This is as unreliable as all of the other data that we get from the GFS at this sort of time frame. So it is seeing a bit of an intensification of the warming through the first week of January over Siberia, but it isn't penetrating it into the poles at this point, and it still isn't reaching the level of a sudden stratospheric warming. So I think we can say certainly to the beginning of the next year we aren't seeing any signs of a sudden stratospheric warming, but beyond that we are expecting a sudden stratospheric warming this winter. It doesn't mean that we will definitely get one, but we are expecting it, and it will be a case of waiting to see when or if it occurs. Right, so that's brought you up to date with the stratospheric situation. Let's have a look at the next week to 10 days. So these are 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts for the next 7 to 10 days from the Penn State University website. At this point, I would normally begin with the ECMWR, but for some reason, this has been going on for some time now, so I'm not sure what the problem is. For some reason, they are not updating the ECM part of this chart at the moment at the Penn State University website. We've just got a blank chart, so no point looking at that. Let's go down and have a look at the GFS. This is how the GFS is looking in terms of the 500 millibar height anomalies for the next 7 to 10 days. This takes us to around the 30th of December, so almost going to the end of the year. Remember, blue is extrapolating to low pressure, and red, orange, extrapolating to high pressure. So we've got more or less an Atlantic-driven pattern. We've got an area of above-average heights to our southwest just there. We're bringing the jet stream, and it's a strong jet stream as well, through the Atlantic like that. We've got a cold trough sitting over eastern America, so that's going to bring a real bite of winter into many of the populated areas of the United States over Christmas. And then for us, we've got this deep trough sitting over and to the east of the country, and that's going to allow some colder air, or I should probably say cooler air, but it could be cold at times, to move down from the north. We do also have quite a strong blocking signal, which is something that we've had throughout December. There's a lot of high pressure up over poles. Some of it is moving down in towards Greenland as well, and that's helping to infiltrate colder air into this trough that is sitting over and to the east of the UK. However, it's not a clear-cut cold pattern because the jet stream is still generally westerly from off the Atlantic, and we do still have quite a big ridge down around the Azores as well. So it's probably going to deliver a cold snap between Christmas and New Year, but I'm doubtful it will last all that long. However, with such a strong blocking signal up over the pole, such as we've got there with those red colours, there is the potential for something more extensive in terms of cold weather. If not between Christmas and New Year, then certainly as we go further in towards January. So even without a sudden stratospheric, and this is the odd thing about this winter, we haven't had a sudden stratospheric warming yet, as we know. But even without it, we have seen quite a decent blocking signal really through December and back into November as well. It looks like this is going to continue certainly for the next 7 to 10 days, albeit not in a position particularly to deliver anything really cold to us, but they're going to get it in America most definitely. This is how the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles are looking for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at Stratford upon Avon today. The red line here is a 30-year upper air temperature average. We're milder than average now until Christmas. Dates on the bottom, that's Christmas Day, just there. So we're milder than average till Christmas, quite substantially so. And then around Christmas into the Christmas to New Year period, clearly we're seeing a drop in the temperature. That takes us to the end of the year. This is New Year's Day. Just here. They've got quite a split really between the ensembles, so it's a bit inconclusive what's happening there. Possibly signs that it's warming up again through the first week of January, but it's a very long way off. There's a big split within the ensembles, and I think it's a bit inconclusive really as to where things are going through the first week of January. As expected, it's also turning wetter. These are the precipitation spikes, so a lot of dry weather until Christmas. Then precipitation is coming back big time from Christmas Day through into that Christmas to New Year period. After that, through the first week of January, maybe a slight drying trend appearing. This is how the surface temperatures are looking as well for Stratford upon Avon. So this is 10 degrees just here. This is freezing just here, starting off around or a little bit above 10 degrees Celsius, very mild, up to Christmas Day. Then the drop in temperature is taking place, so we're going quite a lot colder actually through that Christmas to New Year period, before maybe signs of a bit of a recovery in temperature starting to take place through the first week of January. Again, big split though between the coldest and warmest ensemble members, so that period is inconclusive. This is an interesting period from Christmas up towards the New Year, though, this period just here, because there are several really quite cold ensemble members, some of them even going down to frost levels, but it's also unsettled as well, with a lot of precipitation spikes, you'll notice. So there is wintry potential in with that. It will just depend on the detail of how the areas of low pressure interact with those cooler temperatures. Finally, air pressure at Stratford upon Avon is looking like this. So we're starting off with high pressure now, and we're going to keep relatively high pressure up towards Christmas. That's 23rd of December just then. Then a real plunge in the air pressure takes place around and just beyond Christmas, going down below 990 millibars, very low pressure, and then starting to see the pressure recovering again as we go up towards and into the new year. So maybe turning drier through the first week of January. Temperature anomalies from the 20th of December through the 28th are looking warmer than average. We're not suffering alone with these warmer than average temperature anomalies. Most parts of Europe are coming out very substantially milder than average as well. Precipitation anomalies from the 20th of December to 28th of December, average to a little bit wetter than average generally through most of the UK. In America, we see that temperature anomalies in the south and west of the states are coming out warmer than average, colder than average in the north and the east. Expect those to trend colder, very substantially so, in the coming days for northern, central and eastern parts of America. Precipitation anomalies, it's a bit of a mixed bag, quite dry down in the south and southwest, a little bit wetter up in the north. This is how the GFS is looking for Christmas Eve, and we've got this mild southwesterly wind. Then low pressure is in the north and the west, producing outbreaks of rain. Through to Christmas Day, we find that low pressure pushing southwards with its weather front. So now looks like we're going to have quite a wet Christmas Day for England and Wales. It becomes brighter and colder in Scotland and Northern Ireland. And on the back edge of that rain band, there might be something a bit wintry, parts of northern England and North Wales on Christmas Day. This is how things are looking on Boxing Day. Deep area of low pressure heading in from off the Atlantic. However, we're not seeing the very severe storm being shown up by these models now that it looked like we might get a few days ago. So this area of low pressure moves in on Boxing Day. Will bring a lot of wet weather to the south. On the northern edge, though, we have to be watching out in this sort of area, Northern Ireland, northern England, perhaps, for the risk of some sleet or snow. That low pressure moves away to the southeast on the 27th of December, turning the winds into the north for all of us, so colder air starts to push down from the north after Boxing Day. That's Wednesday, 27th of December, looking quite cold with the risk of wintry showers up in the north. Then another low pressure is starting to move in from off the Atlantic on Thursday, the 28th. That's coming into cold air again, so the exact track of that will be interesting, because again, it might have some wintry weather on its northern and eastern edge. It looks like there's some sort of a stall going on there as well from the 28th to the 29th. So definitely watch your space for that period of some wintry conditions, most likely in the north. But then by day 10, which is Saturday 30th of December, we are firmly into this west-southwesterly push, and that's bringing those mild temperatures back in, probably in time for the new year. This is a precipitation type forecast from the weatheroutlook.com based on that GFS run. So this is 6 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day, thoroughly wet across much of the central swathe of the country, heavy outbreaks of rain, something a bit wintry being suggested for Scotland. Through the course of Christmas Day, we find this band of rain heading further south, so it turns very wet across England and Wales through the day. Notice there is some sleet and snow being indicated here by this white hatched area for northern England and also for North Wales as well. And then as we go through into Christmas night, the rain turns very heavy across the Midlands and southeastern England. It's engaging cold air, so on the northern edge, parts of Wales and the North Midlands and northern England, we do see some wintry conditions, and those wintry conditions possibly extend a bit further south in towards the Midlands overnight, Christmas night, and into Boxing Day. So certainly there's a risk of something wintry happening here, but it's a very long way off. The details to be determined. It's very marginal as well, so it will be a case of just watching this space to see how that one develops. That leads us into quite a cold day for Boxing Day, and then later on Boxing Day, we've got more heavy rain piling in from the west. And again, on the northern and eastern edge of this, we are seeing a suggestion of some snow, and that's again mainly for Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. Exact track as to where the northern edge of that low pressure is critical, but through the course of Boxing Day 19th to 27th of December, again the snow risk is coming a bit further southwards into parts of Wales and the Midlands as well. So obviously we've got some wintry potential here. The detail needs to be firmed up on a lot, and just watch your space to see how this progresses over the coming few days. And of course, we've got Christmas update coming up for you tonight. This is the ECMWF. Finally, we've got the high pressure to our south, low pressure up to the north on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day brings this low pressure through, not coming through as quickly as it is on the GFS, so even at midnight, sort of Christmas night to Boxing Day, much of England and Wales still mild, with those southerly winds continuing and quite a lot of heavy rain, colder to the north and to the west of the country. That's midnight on the 27th of December, when a deep area of low pressure is sitting across southern parts of Scotland, quite windy on the southern side of that, a lot of heavy rain. But it's not really until the 28th of December that we start to pull down these colder winds from the north. So even now, the situation, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, it's still not decided, really. There could still be further changes to this period, this all-important Christmas period. By the time we go to the 29th and the 30th of December, we are re-establishing the westerly flow. Not far from cold weather, though. Even then, we've got the front lying in that sort of area. Anywhere to the north of that is cold, and to the south of it, it's mild. So maybe the chance of rain, snow across Scotland as we run up towards the new year. The snow potential finally from that ECWF run looks like this. So this is the snow depth forecast for Christmas Day, I think, and snow mainly restricted to the far north of Scotland. If we go through towards Boxing Day, and it looks like this. So this is kind of like Boxing Day to 27th. A little bit of snow across the far west country. Most places not seeing any snow. However, we can go through to, I think this takes the 28th of December, and again snow mainly in the north and west. But as we get through towards the 29th, we do see signs that we're starting to increase the snow depth a little bit, and this takes us up towards the 29th to the 30th, and you see the snow depth does increase there, particularly the central and northern parts of the country. That's at the website weather.us. It looks like we've got the risk of some wintry conditions around and after Christmas. The detail is to be determined. We'll have to firm up on it, so it's a case of watching this space. Up to Christmas it's very mild. After Christmas, it's unsettled and quite cold. And then where we go into the new year, I think that is very much up in the air at the moment. And we will need to have a few more days, I think, before we can have any confidence about weather from New Year onwards. And even Christmas is still uncertain, actually, this year. There is still potential there for more chopping and changing, even for the Christmas period itself. Right, come back tonight for the 24th and penultimate Christmas update. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.